top stories tonight. Appeal Court sets aside order restraining release of funds to Rivers State. Court grants former Kogi Governor Yahaya Bello 500 million naira bail over alleged 80 billion naira fraud. Polytechnic lecturers suspend strike after agreement with federal government. And DR Congo, Rwanda leaders to hold peace talks in Angola. Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Eziwike. Let's begin in the courts. The Appeal Court Abuja has set aside all orders restraining the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation from releasing funds to the Rivers State government. The three-member panel, presided by Justice Haman Baka, held that the subject matter was not within the jurisdiction of the courts relating to the revenue of the state. While allowing the appeal of the Rivers State government, the appellate court also set aside all the orders made by Justice Joyce Abdulmalik, stating that it was unconstitutional for her to make orders restricting Rivers State government to receive funds due to the state from its consolidated revenue fund. The appellate court held that the lower court overreached itself and did not have the jurisdiction to entertain the matter. Let's get further perspective. We're joined now by legal practitioner Henry Ekine. Henry, always good to have you on the news. The opposition coalition has hailed this ruling as a triumph for the rule of law and a significant blow to attempts to undermine the judiciary. I would like your thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you very much. My pleasure to be with you this evening. And I think I completely align my thoughts with that submission. The Republic of Nigeria, the governor, shall be principles of democracy and social justice. Democracy would also mean that the rule of law would always prevail. And then to that extent, as a federal state, we have federating units. So at all times, the supremacy of the Constitution should be what all authorities and persons in this country should defend and protect. So indeed, this decision of the Court of Appeal, setting aside the earlier judgment of the Federal High Court by Joyce Abdulmalik, I think for me is indeed putting the law in the right place and then giving effect to the provision of the Constitution to the effect that the federating units, the component states in themselves, creations of the Constitution are protected by the Constitution as well. I recall that when this judgment was delivered earlier, some of us had comments as legal analysts and constitutional analysts to imagine how a federal high court will seize or will act as if it has the power to determine how a state government or even a local government will control or appropriate its fund. But I think the Court of Appeal has given credence to our earlier positions, really.
Yeah, I remember speaking with you on this subject. I was quite taken aback, frankly, when you said that the federal government should discountenance that ruling by the court. But now you have this ruling, and I'm sure you're feeling vindicated from that. Might I also assume that you are aligning with Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, who said that the judgment protected the integrity of the state and the nation's democratic framework?
Yes, I think it's also, for me, it's appropriate, because if we went the way that that decision and similar decisions had actually directed, perhaps the way we would have run our federal system, they would have meant that we are rather being a unitary state, where the component units, the federating units, would have been so weakened and made rather completely subservient to the center. And that's not the ideal of any federal system. The federal ideal would have meant that it's even the component units that would have agreed to federate, to come together for some purpose. And it wouldn't have been a general purpose to the extent that it would threaten the existence of the other component units. So I agree with Igochinyere to the extent that this judgment has protected the federating units, particularly the states. Because if we got to the point where the federating states, I mean the states in this country, could be controlled to that extent, and then I think I would wonder what autonomy would have been left in any way. At some point, we will probably even drift into the functional areas of those states to the extent that even the federal government would want to do everything about the state. So absolutely, I agree that this decision protects further the federal system we currently operate, and then protects the states, and by extension, the local governments.
But it's not yet Nguru, is it? There are those who are saying there is a possibility that the Supreme Court could be approached on this matter by the pro-Wike group. Do you think that's a possibility? And on the off chance, not supposing what the Supreme Court's judgment would be, but just on the off chance that a possibility occurs that the Supreme Court cancels this ruling, what then? But let's start with, will it get to the Supreme Court?
So let's say the beauty about the law is that, especially in our jurisprudence and of course in our legal system, there is a fundamental principle of stare decisis, right? And then precedent. So I am not confused at all. I am not in doubt as to what the outcome would be if those dissatisfied with this judgment, if they approach the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court had earlier held in this direction. I would imagine that the Court of Appeal Justice today simply followed the precedent that had been set by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court clearly condemned that kind of act when the current president, then the governor of Lagos State, and that was about between 2003 or 2004, as the case may be, and then the Supreme Court had actually held down a very instructive decision that it was unconstitutional for the funds of even local government to be withheld by the federal government, let alone the funds of a state. So for me, I would be expectant that the Supreme Court will not depart from that fundamental right and appropriate principle that led to that decision. So if those dissatisfied with the Court of Appeal decision today appeal to the Supreme Court, I think and I expect that with the sacred principle of stare decisis and the precedent that has been set by the Supreme Court and not finding any reason to depart from its earlier decision, I hope that the Supreme Court will uphold the decision of the Court of Appeal today, that it was unconstitutional. And of course, it was even outside the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court to delve into the funds of a state and how to appropriate or to use or otherwise the fund of a state. And even the ultimate... yes, please.
All right. No, I was just...
this thought.
Yes. We're out of time for this conversation. I was just prompting you to round up quickly. As always, it's a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to Rivers State.
I guess that is a good way to end it. Let's go over to another court matter. This time, the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, he has been granted bail to the tune of about 500 million naira by the Federal High Court in Abuja. Bello, who is facing a 19-count charge of alleged money laundering, breach of trust and misappropriation of public funds amounting to 80.2 billion naira, appeared in court before Justice Emeka Nwite for a resumed hearing on his bail application. News Center's Joshua Imarai was at the court and filed in this report.
The charge was brought against the former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. At the resumed hearing, the EFCC counsel Kemi Pinheiro informed the court of the prosecution's intention to withdraw a previous application for an abridgment of the arraignment date because the application had been overtaken by events. The counsel to the defendant did not object the request by the EFCC, which was duly granted by the trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, striking out the application. Upon reading the 19-count charge, the former governor, Bello pleaded not guilty. After hearing the bail applications from both counsels, the judge granted bail to the former governor to the tune of 500 million naira with two sureties and like sum. Bello is also required to deposit his international passport with the court. The case was then subsequently adjourned to February 24th, 28th, March the 6th and 7th, 2025 for trial. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
The Labour Party has gone to court over the defection of 6 members of the House of Representatives from the party to the ruling All Progressive Congress APC. Akongbe Ilia, who represents Jos South, Jos East of Plateau State, teamed up with the APC on Thursday, adding to the swelling number of House of Representatives members who were elected under the LP leaving the party. The LP, in a statement by its spokesman, described Elia's defection to the APC as unfortunate, while admitting that the Constitution guarantees citizens the right to freedom of association. The party said Section 68 subsection G of the 1999 Constitution is emphatic on when to defect and what happens when a lawmaker sponsored by a political party decides to jump ship. Following the defection, the party said it was going to take legal action against the lawmakers. Coming up, polytechnic lecturers suspend strike after deal with federal government. That's after the break. Do stay with us. If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Appeal Court sets aside order restraining release of funds to Rivers State. Court grants former Kogi Governor Yahaya Bello 500 million naira bail over alleged 80 billion naira fraud. Polytechnic lecturers suspend strike after agreement with federal government. And DR Congo and Rwanda leaders to hold peace talks in Angola. Thank you for staying with us. The Take It Back movement, a human rights organization, has demanded for the immediate release of Nigerian female activist Comrade Abiodun Thomas, who was allegedly arrested by the Nigerian police. The group is calling on the Lagos State Commissioner of Police to order her immediate and unconditional release. This was contained in a release signed by members of the organizing committee of End Bad Governance in Nigeria in Lagos State, Hassan Taiwo Soweto and Oloye Adegboyega Adeniyi on Friday. Nurse Abiodun Thomas is said to be a prominent activist and critic of President Tinubu's policies as well as the conduct of the Nigerian police. According to the statement, she has been involved in seeking justice for victims of domestic and sexual violence in Lagos State. To help us better make sense of this development, we're joined by community organizer for Take It Back movement, Osatohame Ewohon. Osatohame, thank you very much for joining us. Most of Olamide's allegations of being targeted pointed to the public relations officer, the police public relations officer. So I have to ask, how credible is your source that the arrest was at the instance of the Inspector General of Police? Or is this perhaps because he is the head of the police, that is why he is alleged to have directed her arrest?
We have some credible sources that it was, as a matter of fact, a direct order from Abuja, and we also strongly believe that it is not just the PPRO or the IG of police that is involved in this adoption, I like to call it. President Tinubu is also involved in it because the video of which they are claiming that they are arresting her for, they kidnapped her for, is a video where she was raining curses and swears on Tinubu, his family, the IG of police, the PPRO of the police force. like we do every Sunday. It is common that Nigerians, because they are not violent people, they take their anger and put it into curse and swear. And that is what she did on that's what they are claiming she did. And it's apparently a crime to swear for your enemies. And if it's like that, I think next Sunday, the PPRO will have to go to all the churches in Nigeria.
It's intriguing.
Nigeria is praying for them.
I must comment at this moment that we do talk about the right to freedom of speech and where yours starts or where yours ends, mine begins. These are people as well that are being accused of, maybe certain things. So since there seem to be grievances against her, is there perhaps any indication that the case has been taken to court, that she might be charged for some crime as against just being held without any reason?
As of today, I actually just got back from the from Panti police station, that's the state CID Lagos. We've been with her since morning. We've not been with her since morning. As a matter of fact, we've been looking for her around Lagos. Initially, they denied having her with them in the state CID, and they said it was the Lagos command. We went there and, they directed back to Lagos command. But we finally found her at the state CID. And from the information we have, there are no charges laid. Yet. We don't know what they are charging her for. All that we were told is that this is a directive from Abuja, the IGP of police, and that they are waiting for orders from the police. But we are aware of this strategy. The plan is, or their plan is to hold her till on Monday to punish her for airing her grievances as a concerned citizen, as a citizen who was actually brutalized by the Nigerian police on the order of the presidency. That is during the NSAS memorial. This lady in question was brutalized. She was hit with a gun on her waist. And they had the infantry to tell us at Panti then that they were even lenient with us, that they were ordered from Abuja to brutalize us to the extent that we sustained serious injury.
Osato, this is not
something they said with their mouth.
All right, Osato, if I may interject quickly and just ask, did she make any official complaints or take a case to court? Because I know she has raised alarm previously about threats to her life. Yes, just like you indicated during the protest in October. So did she perhaps engage a lawyer or take the matter up officially?
Of course. The TIB has started processing a case of human rights violation with our lawyers, and is currently in court. So I think our lawyers would be better suited to discuss that. The legal proceedings and what's going on so far. But yes, the case in court. However, I must also say that the PPRO of the police force has had has had this beef with Olamide for like 3 years now. This is not, they've had her on their books for about 3 years now, And as a matter of fact, the PPRO, Muyiwa, actually placed a bounty on her head. And Olamide has already raised an alarm about this. She posted it on her Facebook wall and also let us know, the leadership of the movement know that this is what's going on. So we are not surprised that all this now accumulating together to
again, I must caution that these are strong allegations. We're putting a bounty on the head of a citizen who is airing her thoughts. I just hope that that is not the case. But quickly, though, what are your fears? You're obviously very concerned about this arrest over, if we are to take all at face value, a Facebook post.
It is no news anymore that Nigeria has descended into a fascist state. Tinubu is obviously a fascist. He's scared of critics. He's all about building that international mirage for himself. and he will do anything to ensure that he's seen as the newest baby of the capitalist world, even if he's failing at it, you know. So my fear is that he would not stop at Comrade Olamide. My fear is that he will continue to go after people with dissenting voices, or will continue to go after people who are critical of his government. You know, we can see that even the Nigerian state has interest in Comrade Dele Farotimi's case. You know, this is no longer about what do you call him?
All right, in the interest of time, I'll just, in 30 seconds, if you can, just speak directly to the police and reiterate your demands as you want them to attend to.
Our demand is simple. Comrade Olamide should be released. The allegations against her that she's cursing and swearing for the Nigerian police and Tinubu, I want the police to know that it is not just her that is cursing and swearing at them. I'm also cursing and swearing at them. I will do so now, if not that they will come and shut down your station. Millions of Nigerians are doing so every day, every Sunday, every Saturday in the churches. And Olamide is not the first person to do it and would not be the last person to do it.
All right.
They should grow some balls and fix themselves or fix the country so that people would not curse and swear at them and their children anymore. Because Nigerians are angry and they will continue to swear and curse their entire generations and family.
Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
One of our top stories tonight, polytechnic lecturers under the aegis of Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUB, have suspended their 2-week strike after reaching a new agreement with the federal government. The union directed its members to resume work across the country on Monday, December 16. In a statement signed by ASUB President Shama Banja on Friday in Abuja, ASUB explained that the decision to suspend the strike followed a new Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, reached at a conciliation meeting with the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment on December 9th. Among the demands of the union include violation of the Federal Polytechnics Act, non-review of the contentious and suspended document entitled Schemes of Service for Polytechnics and Conditions of Service. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Nwakuche Ndidi as Acting Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service following the retirement of Haliru Nababa from the service. Haliru Nababa served as Controller General for 3 years and 7 months. He was appointed as Controller General by former President Muhammadu Buhari, and his tenure would end on 15th of December. Haliru was pulled out of service in a colorful ceremony on Friday. According to a statement signed by Ahmed Ja'afaru, the Secretary of the Board of Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services, the appointment of Nwakuche Ndidi takes effect from 15th December 2024. The General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, has emphasized the need for empowerment programs that will improve the lives of officers and men of the division, as well as the barrack community. The DOC, who doubles as the commander, Operation Safe Haven, was speaking at the division's headquarters during a one-day empowerment seminar to draw attention of participants, especially the personnel, to the need for the seminar. News Center's Chizoba Anyowi completes the report.
Life after retirement from active service has been seen by many as a difficult one, leaving retirees at the mercy of no one, except being dependent on their family members and loved ones alike. Pension may not be enough for most of them to sustain their livelihood as against while in active service. This is why these participants are gathered under this roof to gain the knowledge of fish farming, one of the skills under agriculture that personnel are allowed to explore while in and out of service.
As we gather in this auditorium, we are reminded of the realities of our current economic landscape, where often
In line with the new Chief of Army Staff's mandate of empowering and improving the lives of personnel, these stakeholders are committed in ensuring not just officers of the military are well engaged, but also their dependents.
Accents are coming from Togo, from the Republic, from Ghana, to come to our homes to lay tiles, POP, bricklayer, and all those things. It's a shame for us in Nigeria. This president does not want that to happen again. He also talked about agripreneur. He wants us to turn a lot of Nigeria to entrepreneur in agriculture. And that's why what we are doing today is very important. Life after retirement workness. Life before retirement workness is a great opportunity for us today to be in front of people, to open the door to see catfish business and tilapia is very rich. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the Josie for this initiative, to thank you for availing yourself to lend the element in order to improve the income of the officers, to prepare their mind towards retirement, to improve their livelihood, as well as generate revenue to the system.
With this intervention, personnel are expected to keep the spirit alive even in the face of retirement. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyuri.
To health matters, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has launched a relief initiative aimed at alleviating malnutrition in flood-affected communities in Maiduguri, northeastern Nigeria. News Center's Umaru Kirawa reports that the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations distributed locally produced nutritional supplements to thousands of vulnerable individuals, particularly children and pregnant women, who have been severely impacted by the flood in Borno State. The FAO representative emphasized that this initiative is crucial for not only providing immediate relief, but also building resilience within these communities, ensuring that they have access to nutritious food in the long term.
In a community called Gonigamdari in MMC, behind the railway quarters in Maiduguri, the community are being affected by this September 10th flood. So in continuation with FAO support, FAO are here today to support 1,000 under 5 children with supplementary food known as Tombran. Tombran is a locally made supplement that can help children in preventing under 5 children on malnutrition. This support that FAO is giving of 12,000 pack of Tombran, 12 pack per household, it will help that child in order to have a balanced diet that a child need, a under 5 child need.
Connecting women who trade under the subsidiary of Blueprint Group has once again recognized the immense potential of women in trade and their contribution to Africa's economic growth. CWT at a media conference emphasized the importance of fostering collaboration, providing access to resources, and dismantling the silos that often hinder women's advancement, as this will create a robust ecosystem for female entrepreneurs to thrive. News Center's Omolola Ololade tells us more in this report.
Empowering women through trade not only creates synergies that boost economies and strengthen communities, but also enhance their capabilities to contribute meaningfully to the society. Conversations about empowering women was brought to the fore again at the Connecting Women Who Trade lunch and media briefing, which brought together critical stakeholders from Africa's trade and investment sector, as well as other industries.
We equally felt it was important that they are recognized and that our organization creates a link where women across the world can find each other, do business with each other, and help each other grow.
These initiatives come with connecting individuals, which sometimes can be prohibiting if you want to scale. But because we're doing a business-to-business infrastructure, we're connecting 10,000 associations that are already working with women, but we want to help them scale and improve with trading and financing and solutions.
Although the event focused on fostering economic growth and shattering gender barriers in trade, it also highlighted the role government plays through its policies to enhance ease of doing business in Nigeria and Africa at large.
I believe that there's a large recognition of the role that women play in terms of trade in Nigeria, and government is doing a lot to assist and facilitate the success.
There's a lot that we can do collectively, and from that standpoint, and it's also about policy. So we're also working across Lagos State to ensure that there's an enabling policy, making sure we're providing the right, affordable access to finance. That's another aspect of it.
However, experts emphasize the importance of cross-border trade in fostering economic growth, while focusing on the role technology plays in improving collaboration among women across different countries.
If we can create a space where they can come together, speak about their combined challenges, as well as come up with practical steps on how these issues can be resolved, I think that would be a great step forward.
Because of technology, the marketplace is a global marketplace, right? And so for that purpose, women in trade need to be prepared, right? And to think not just locally. Even if you have a local business, it's helpful to approach those sometimes from a perspective that it's a global economy.
Connecting Women with Trade therefore hopes to accomplish its mandate by unifying 1 million women with trade through associations, organizations and individuals who are dedicated to supporting the success of women in business across Africa, the Americas and the Caribbean. In Lagos for News Central, I am Omolola Ololade.
Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs has tasked ECOWAS member states to work towards creating trade and investment opportunities for citizens of the sub-region. The minister was speaking at the 93rd Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers in Abuja, expressed confidence that the meeting will help the ministers make far-reaching recommendations for the ECOWAS authority, heads of state and governments to create radical changes that will improve the lives of citizens. Also, President of the ECOWAS Commission pledged the commitment of the Commission to work towards effecting positive changes in the lives of citizens of the sub-region.
Creating trade and investment opportunities will yield substantial benefits and position our community to reap significant rewards, thereby improving the lives of our populace. I'm confident that convening this session at this period provides us with yet another opportunity to engage in constructive deliberations with purposefulness and amity to enable us come up with important recommendations for our heads of state and government that will propel our community forward.
I would like to recommit the Commission and the institutions of ECOWAS. I would like to recommit our commitment, underscore our commitment to working tirelessly for our region and the citizens of our region.
Still ahead, DR Congo and Rwanda leaders to hold peace talks in Angola. That's when we come back from this very short break. Do stay with us. Presidents of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo will meet on Sunday in Angola for a fresh round of talks aimed at ending the conflict in the DRC's troubled east. Since its re-emergence in 2021, the Kigali-backed M23 militia, which claims to defend ethnic Tutsis, has seized swaths of DRC territory, displacing thousands and triggering a humanitarian crisis. Kigali confirms that Rwandan President Paul Kagame would attend the summit on Sunday, joined by his foreign minister. The Congolese presidency also confirmed that Felix Tshisekedi would participate despite the DRC's previous refusals to negotiate with Rwanda and its calls for international sanctions against its neighbor. Nigeria's money supply contracted slightly in October. Leko Onobanjo brings us the details in this business package.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Nigeria's money supply dropped to 107.66 trillion naira in October 2024, reflecting a 1.6% month-on-month decrease from 109.41 trillion naira in September 2024. This is according to an analysis of the money and credit statistics of the Central Bank of Nigeria. According to the report, this is the second decline recorded in 2024 as the government's tightening fiscal measures continue to impact liquidity in the economy. Despite the decline, money supply showed a robust year-on-year growth of 45.7% compared to 73.91 trillion naira in October 2023. The Federal Inland Revenue Service has reaffirmed its commitment to fostering strategic collaborations with security agencies to enhance tax collection and enforcement. This was disclosed during a security briefing in Pali involving top FIRS officials and law enforcement agencies. Gregory Wilfred Asuko, Director of Security, Safety and Fleet Management at FIRS, while highlighting the critical role of security agencies in achieving the organization's ambitious tax targets, said there is a need for stakeholders to work together across all boards. He said tax has become a major pillar of Nigeria's economy, identifying intelligence sharing and continuous engagement as core strategies required to enhance tax compliance. The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved a loan of $108 million to Zambia for an initiative aimed at strengthening the country's economic governance and implementing reforms in key public sectors. The funds allow the implementation of fiscal sustainability and economic resilience support program, which is a key pillar in efforts to build a resilient and diversified Zambian economy. Raobil Duroboju, the African Development Bank's country manager for Zambia, said this is a multi-sectoral program designed to improve fiscal sustainability and increase private sector participation in the country's economy. Thanks for watching Business News. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Let's go over now to our sports desk for today's updates.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
In the world of sport, the leadership of the National Sport Commission have presented a progress report to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the state of the sports sector. The report was presented by the National Sport Commission's duo of Malam Shehu Diko and Bukola Olokpade during a meeting with His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Presidential Villa. National Sport Commission Chairman Malam Shehu Diko expressed gratitude to the President for the trust placed on him and the Director General, promising to justify the confidence reposed by the President and Nigerians on the National Sport Commission's new leadership. Director General Bukola Olokpade echoed the Chairman's remarks, thanking the President for his support through sport and pledging to deliver their responsibilities. The new leadership of the National Sport Commission pledged to maintain this momentum to ensure Nigerian sports sector becomes an important player in the nation's economy.
We have to go back to development, which is production. We have to make sure that the internal ecosystem of sports work. So that is the new things we are trying to do differently. Second one, we have to refocus and be deliberate about what we are doing. So we have to decide clearly what is the pathway we are taking to move forward. what kind of legislation we need to put in place to activate the system, what kind of incentives we need to put in place to be able to attract the private sector to support the growth of sport in this country. We have to do that. And then fundamentally part of that is what we are telling Mr. President is to declare sports as a national asset.
Rwanda is bidding to host a Formula One Grand Prix, the country's president Paul Kagame says. Formula One is keen to hold a race in Africa, and talks with Rwanda have been known about for some months. The FIA, Formula One's governing body, is hosting its General Assembly and prize giving in the Rwandan capital Kigali, and Kagame chose its opening to put his official seal on the Grand Prix project. Formula One had previously tried to revive a Grand Prix in South Africa at the Yalami track, which last hosted a Grand Prix in 1993. But talks collapsed over problems with the local promoter. The Rwandan project is now considered the most likely for an African Grand Prix, but the project remains unconfirmed. The World Anti-Doping Agency has reminded stakeholders the 2025 list of prohibited substances and methods, and the monitoring program will come into effect on the 1st of January 2025. The list is one of the 8 international standards mandatory for all signatories of the World Anti-Doping Code. It outlines which substance and methods are prohibited in and out of competition and identifies substances banned on specific sport. To be added to the list, a substance or method must enhance sport performance, present a potential health risks to the athletes, or violates the spirit of sport. The list is released 3 months in advance of its implementation to allow athletes and their entourages sufficient time to familiarize themselves with any changes. Ultimately, athletes are responsible for any prohibited substances found in their bodies and for methods determined to have been used. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Up next is entertainment.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Tonight on Entertainment News, Nollywood filmmaker Femi Adebayo has urged fans to stay clear of piracy and unauthorized platforms like Telegram channels while supporting his latest film, 7 Doors. In a tweet earlier today, he emphasized the harm piracy causes to the film industry, saying piracy kills the hard work, passion, and dedication that goes into making great movies like 7 Doors. Let's honor the effort of everyone who brought this masterpiece to life by watching it through the right platform, Netflix. Respect the craft, support the industry, say no to piracy. To reinforce his message, Adebayo shared a video advocating for zero tolerance for film piracy, urging fans to choose legal platforms to enjoy Nollywood productions. His call to action aligns with the broader industry efforts to combat piracy and protect intellectual property.
Please say no to any form of piracy. Do not patronize unauthorized platforms such as Telegrams and the likes. Help us remain in business. Help film industry to grow. Please.
This comes shortly after fellow filmmaker Funke Akindele warned against pirating her film Everybody Loves Jennifer, threatening legal actions against violators. Both filmmakers highlight the need for fans to respect the creative process and support the Nigerian film industry by consuming content responsibly. Mariah Carey is set to bring her holiday magic to the NFL's first ever Christmas game day on Netflix with a pre-recorded performance of her iconic hit All I Want for Christmas Is You. The opening segment, announced on December 21st, 2024, will set the festive tone for the 2 scheduled games on December 25th. The Kansas City Chiefs will face off against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 1 p.m. ET, followed by the Baltimore Ravens playing against the Houston Texans at 4:30 p.m. ET. Adding to the musical star power, Beyoncé also dazzled fans with a halftime performance at her hometown NRG Stadium in Houston during the Texans vs. Ravens game. This marks Beyoncé's first live performance since the release of the Cowboy Carter album. With both Mariah Carey's holiday charm and Beyoncé's electrifying halftime set, the NFL's inaugural Christmas game day is shaping up to be a festive and star-studded event for fans of football and music alike. That's all on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Moving away from entertainment, let's take a look at what's trending as the hashtag Free Olamide is trending on X following the arrest of Nurse Olamide Thomas by the Nigerian police in Shomolu, Lagos during the early hours of December 13, 2024. The arrest was reportedly ordered by the Inspector General of Police IGP Egbedokun in response to a Facebook video she posted where she exposed alleged fraudulent activities and misconduct she witnessed at a police station. Olamide's video, which highlighted police brutality and lawlessness, sparked widespread support online, with many Nigerians condemning her detention as an assault on free speech and a glaring misuse of police authority. Advocacy groups and concerned citizens have called for her immediate and unconditional release, emphasizing the need to protect government critics rather than kidnap them at night. A lot of Nigerians had a lot to say on social media. Let's read some tweets. At Netufo_T, lawlessness of an institution. The Nigerian police, Prince Moye 1. Are you not ashamed of the disgusting behavior you all are bringing on the country? At Benjamin Hudain, apart from the fact that you can't think on your own, those that mean you are. Hashtag Free Olamide. At Run Driving NG, I will tweet and also make noise on behalf of this lady. I won't behave as Sowore boys that are mocking Uncle Dele Farutimi. Hashtag Free Olamide. Justice to one is justice to all. At Angela Philo, so it has gotten to this, they don't want us to talk. This is an abuse of human rights. Nigerians, our docility has emboldened these people. No one is coming to save us. The earlier we face our fears, the better for us. Hashtag Free Olamide. At Duke Motherland, we're still on hashtag Free Dele Farutimi now. The IG of Lawless Police NG has abducted Olamide in the early hours of today in Lagos for allegedly abusing him and Sheyi Tinubu. You all will be resisted, inshallah. That's all on what's trending.
And that's all we have for you tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the headlines. Appeal Court has set aside order restraining release of funds to Rivers State. Court has granted former Kogi Governor Yahaya Bello 500 million naira bail over alleged 80 billion naira fraud. Polytechnic lecturers have suspended strike after agreement with federal government. We also brought you news that DR Congo Rwanda leaders are set to hold peace talks in Angola. You can always catch up on all the latest news by watching News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and on YouTube. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good night and a good weekend.